On the field, off the field, sports talk, entertainment, and more. This is Sauce on the Side.
Well, hello there, Dippers, and welcome back to episode 98 of the Sauce on the Side podcast. As always, Dippers, I'm your host, Drake, joined by the man, the producer, Mr. Leighton Pip Shaventone.
It came out about just over an hour ago that Kawhi Leonard is going to sue Nike because he's claiming that they copyrighted his logo without his consent. Well, Kawhi, you don't copyright the logo, anybody else can, so you have a lot of money to fight it, but you're probably going to lose it.
And our guest host for today, from Hump Day Hoops Hysteria, Mr. Fletcher Hoig.
Yeah, talking about Kawhi Leonard, he's not getting any kind of money on a shoe deal at all, and a part of that is because Mr. Silent Guy works on his game the whole time, doesn't even have a social media, so he can't even advertise his own product called The Claw. So, I mean...
Good old Kawhi Leonard, dude. I love that. It's probably like one of the... It's an ultimate story whenever you have a guy like Kawhi Leonard who you never hear from, and such like a front-forward... marketing expert, brought in Kaepernick, all this stuff, and Nike. I'm sure it's going to be a very interesting battle between those two.
Yeah, I mean, it could go to the Supreme Court, really, think about it. Because both parties have a shit ton of money, so depending on how bad Kawhi wants that logo back, or not going to keep that logo, they could really push this thing a long way.
Dude, I'm sure New Balance can come up with a way cooler logo for Kawhi anyways.
Have you seen the first shoe?
I'm sure it reminds you a lot of the Air Monarch from Nike.
He actually has a personal brand, and it's like this big, like, goofy hand.
It's a K and an L.
Yeah, and it's called The Claw. And it's like, I didn't even know about it until like a year ago, but apparently he's printing it on hats and shit.
That's awesome.
And Nike owns it.
Like, dude, you want your own brand, but you got to advertise it. And what do you got to have? An Instagram. What do you not have? A free Instagram. I don't understand it.
Really, that's a good point. Instagram is all key to any selling anything anymore.
I'm not even going to dog Kawhi on this one. Because, if you're going to be a professional athlete and just hone in on just your craft, you'd expect that somebody in your inner circle would have taken care of that shit for you.
His Uncle Dennis?
Yes, Uncle Dennis. The same. Did you hear about the most recent video that his sister posted on, I think it was Instagram? She went live on it. She was talking about him going to the finals and stuff, and Uncle Dennis is like, it don't even matter, he gone after this way anyways.
Oh my God.
Good old Uncle Dennis. And I was actually listening to somebody, and they're like, well, it doesn't even matter, that's his uncle speaking. It's not like he's going to listen to his uncle. It's like, I'm pretty sure the reason why he's in Toronto is because he listened to his uncle.
Yeah, his uncle runs the whole ship.
That's awesome. Family first, baby. So Dippers, be sure to be on Spotify and iTunes. Download, subscribe, give us a 5-star review. Follow on Twitter and Instagram at TheSaucyPod. So guys, today we're going to update everybody on the NBA Finals, kind of talk about what we're looking forward to this week, how things are going to pan out. Guys, this thing is going to go all the way until Father's Day if there's a Game 7, so there will at least be one more show until this whole entire thing is over. We're going to talk about a little bit about the odd Rob Pelinka situation, talk a little bit about RJ Hampton, and a little bit of NFL news and notes, a little bit of MLB chatter as well. So first on the docket, NBA Finals update. So Golden State Warriors last night tied the series up 1-1, despite Klay Thompson going down in the second half. Guys, what did you learn from the first two games of this series?
Well, in Game 1, the way that the Golden State Warriors defended everybody is that they were just going to have what they were going to do. They were going to rotate early and just bring the help early on Kawhi and force him to pass it off and have guys like Fred VanVleet, Marc Gasol, Pascal Siakam, Kyle Lowry beat them. And, Pascal missed like 3 shots the whole game. Marc Gasol shot well, made 2 threes, shot 50% from 3. Kyle Lowry had a good game. Fred VanVleet's been playing well ever since his son has been born now. And so, the Raptors really played into the Warriors' hands, and they just kind of beat them at their own game. I don't know if that's going to continually happen. In Game 2, you didn't get quite the production that you wanted from everybody else, and Golden State still defended them the exact same way. but it was still a close game. I mean, it still came down to the last minute or two of the game. It could have gone either way. I was texting you guys before the game. It seemed like kind of a panic move for the Warriors to want to start DeMarcus Cousins. Like he just got cleared before game one, played sparingly, and now it's like, well, we lost game one, so we're just going to go ahead and start him. So we have 4 All-Stars in the lineup now, and I mean, he did okay, sure, but I think what it's really going to come down to is just the overall health of Golden State, and can those players around Kawhi Leonard contribute? Because the way that they're going to defend him is force Kawhi to make a move and then pass it off. What they're going to do is they're going to put him in a spot where he has to make a move and decide who he wants to dish the ball off to, or if he's going to take a contested shot. So I don't anticipate that changing at all during the series either. I think it's just the health and can other players knock down shots will be the story of this finals.
Yeah, so to put this in layman terms, I'll make this real short and sweet. So the Warriors scored 109 points in both games, and they shot virtually the same percentage from the field. I think they shot 3% worse in the game last night than in game one. Mm-hmm. But in game one, Gasol and Siakam shot 20 for 27. Last night they're 7 for 25. So in my opinion, the entire series comes down to those two guys producing. And you gotta convince me otherwise you guys can. But I don't think it matters much what Golden State changed from here on out. If Gasol and Siakam can't put up numbers to at least, I don't know, 50 points from Gasol, 20 points from Siakam, they can't do at least that. I don't have any chance in this series.
Yeah, like Fletcher said, Golden State's basically going to force other people to beat them. And it seems like the Raptors, just on the defensive side of the ball, are doing really good things. I know that there were a few laxes whenever Golden State went on that 20-0 run right at the end of the half, and then going into the third quarters whenever they basically just poured it on them. But they're keeping Steph Curry off the three-point line, which is absolutely phenomenal. Like, nobody has been able to do that since Kevin Durant has went down. Steph has absolutely been a monster from three. He was averaging 14 threes per game since Kevin Durant had went down. Now he hasn't even eclipsed over 10. He had 9 the first game, 10 the second game, so they're not even giving him those opportunities. But like you said, they're going to have that vintage performance like what Siakam did, like what Fred VanVleet did at the end of the 76ers series in order to compete. Because, like we saw yesterday, just average Joes out there playing against the Warriors is not going to get the job done if everybody's playing really good and nobody's having that exceptional game. Especially whenever you have a guy like Kyle Lowry who you're supposed to fall back on, fouling out of another freaking playoff series. So I don't understand that. It's going to have to come down to Kawhi basically beating this team like he did the Bucks by himself. And I don't like that look for the Raptors going forward. But I thought it was interesting, though, that Klay Thompson came out of the game in the second half. The Raptors kind of switched their defense to a box and one on Steph Curry. And the Warriors didn't score again for the last 4 minutes of the game outside of that Andre Iguodala three-pointer. Fletch, do you think that that's something that we're going to see more even if Klay Thompson does come back?
Well, I mean, it's going to depend on health, I mean, when does Kevin Durant come back? That changes a lot of things for their offense. Is Boogie going to contribute more as the game or as the series goes on? It just depends on health, really. My biggest concern, though, for this series, as far as performance or play, it really does fall on Kawhi Leonard. I mean, in game, like I said, they're playing him to pass the ball, and he's never been a pass kind of guy. He's only averaged 2 assists per game for his career, and he's only averaging, I think he's at 8 assists total now in the first 2 games. And so they're playing him to pass. He's only getting 4 a game. That shows you that that's not really his repertoire and what he's meant to do. And on top of that, game 1, he shot 36% from the field. And then in game 2, he shot 40% from the field, 22% from 3. Kawhi's got to step it up. It doesn't really matter what the Warriors do on offense. They're going to find ways. They're going to find movement. They're going to score the ball. They don't have problems doing that. They showed you game 2. They went on an 18-0 run in the third quarter, I think. They're going to be fine. The Warriors, whatever they decide to do or change up on offense, is going to be fine. what has to happen, though, Kawhi Leonard has to step up and has to score the ball and has to do it efficiently, and then you need guys around him to score the ball as well.
Right, and you actually hinted on it with Boogie Cousins. Coming back in Game 2 really strong. Basically looked like a poor man's Draymond Green out there, if not the equivalent to Draymond Green. I mean, he was actually hound dogging the ball on defense, looking to get a triple-double on offense. Do you think that, Boogie is here to stay for the remainder of the series, and do you expect big games like that from him for the remainder?
Well, Game 2, he played, I think 27, 28 minutes, and then the first game back, he only played 8, so I don't know how comfortable they feel really ramping his minutes up. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that, he had the quad issue, whether he ruptured it or tore it or had strained it or whatever the case was, so I don't know. He's got to have the minutes go right first, and Marc Gasol really is an incredible defender. He really did a good job of stifling Joel Embiid. He even did a good job on Vucevic, who is an all-star center this year again. But guarding a center for the Warriors is different because you have to help so much around other pieces, so it's not quite the same. But will they continue to increase Boogie's minutes? I don't know. There's definitely a chance. If they're out there and Draymond doesn't have it one night, maybe they just throw Damian Jones out there at center and kind of put Boogie away from the basket and ask him to do some of those things. Or maybe Durant comes back and they just kind of mix things up altogether. I don't know. But you got to think that Boogie's going to be getting at least 20 minutes a game for the rest of the series.
Yeah, especially the way that he looked yesterday. Have you guys ever seen so every time that a superstar kind of falls below expectations, everybody hammers them. Everybody's on their ass. Steph Curry has bad games in the finals. Everybody points to his ankle. Yesterday, Steph Curry, there was obviously something not right with him. Did not look as good as what he normally does during the regular season. And then everybody gives him a pass today. Oh, he was sick. Have you guys ever seen that from a superstar before, basically in our lifetimes, no matter what sport it is?
Yeah, there's a guy who averages like 35, 9, and 9 in the finals and gets shit on. So it's just one into the other. Steph Curry gets a pass, Kawhi gets a pass, Giannis got a pass last series. Everybody gets a pass except for one guy, in my opinion, and that's LeBron James. So I'm not really too surprised by it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say basically that, yeah.
No, see, I disagree, because it seems like the best players, like if KD went out there and absolutely laid an egg, everybody would be hammering him. After
KD's
game one,
too loud to not be good.
After game 1, Draymond Green even had a triple-double, but everybody wanted to point to the fact that he only had 2 baskets and had 6 turnovers. I feel like Steph is in his own little realm. Even whenever Giannis was having bad games, he was still getting 20 points, 13 rebounds, so he was efficient in other ways other than just scoring the basketball. Whenever you're talking about a guy with Steph Curry, he's really just a shooter and a guy who can put the ball in the basket, and whenever he has an off night, everybody's like, well, he's sick. Oh, he's hurt. It's so weird to me, because even whenever you look at cross sports, if Aaron Rodgers was to go out there and lay an egg, everybody would hammer him, say how it's his fault. Whenever Tom Brady throws for 500 yards in a Super Bowl and still manages to lose, everybody says, what could have Tom Brady done differently? It's such a weird thing that I feel like we've never seen other than with Steph Curry.
I think a large part of it is, and we'll go back to guys who said LeBron, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green. Talk about Draymond Green got hammered for having 6 turnovers in game 1, last series. I think probably because those guys have very loud presences and personalities. And Giannis and Kawhi, the presence is loud, but they themselves are quiet, so they're not going to get hammered by the media. The media loves to destroy people, though. Aaron Rodgers talks all the time to the media, bitches about his coach, but he destroy him. Tom Brady doesn't talk about his coach per se, but he's always loud and talks about the league, anything else. And Steph, before he was good, he was everybody's favorite player because he was the underdog guy. Now he's really big and cocky, but he still doesn't talk a ton. So I think the media still likes him in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, even Steph Curry's teammate Klay Thompson, he's shit the bed in a number of different finals now, and he doesn't catch any flack for it either. So
it's so weird to me how these guys get passes. I guess if you just continue to win, then I guess everything just takes care of itself.
And I have to see how Shane Sports Russell Wilson, if he ever starts doing a great game but losing games, we'll see what happens with him.
I don't think people hate him, though.
Yeah, because he's never in the media either, really.
I feel like Russell Wilson is the equivalent to Steph Curry in the NFL. Like, just because he's doing something we haven't really seen before, everybody fell in love with him at an early age, and I feel like they're just going to coddle him no matter what happens.
Oh, he's at the cute puppy dog factor, to where it's like you can't really ever get mad at him. Like if your small little dog pees in the house, it's like, oh,
Yeah, I can spank him.
Oh, little whatever your fucking dog's name is, Skip. He's so cute.
You give him a little pat on the ass and send him on his way. Next day, repeat the process.
Yeah, Skip Bayless ruined the dog named Skip, so I can't even acknowledge that one, Fletcher. So guys, I believe we're only going to have 2 games. Believe it or not, the NBA finding a way to drag it out until next week. What do you guys expect with this series going back to the Oracle?
Well, Toronto, they're a team that's been tested before in a lot of different ways. Marc Gasol, let's start with Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, youngest finals MVP in NBA history, champion, been to the finals, guarded LeBron James on the biggest stage there is. He's had a lot of playoff games being in San Antonio. Marc Gasol, he's had a lot of playoff runs and experience with the Memphis Grizzlies. Kyle Lowry, obviously, has been, put through the ringer in the Eastern Conference when it comes to the playoffs. And then, Danny Green also...
Don't forget about the guy who's played in the most playoff games outside of Andre Iguodala, Serge Ibaka.
Serge Ibaka, yeah. Serge Ibaka, Danny Green, who came from the Toronto Raptors or from the San Antonio Spurs too. They really have a lot of veteran experience, playoff experience up and down the lineup, and so it's kind of a team that you don't really see, making deep runs in the playoffs. People are kind of like talking about the experience factor, but really when you look at the lineup, like games played in the playoffs and experience, they have plenty of that. So I don't expect them to go into Oracle and be shell shocked by what happens or the atmosphere of it. What I really expect is to find a Toronto Raptors team that's trying to figure out how can we get Kawhi in more effective spots to score the ball, not so much facilitate, but then at the same time, have guys like Mark and Pascal Siakam contribute on offense as well. You've got to find roles for those other guys, but you have to get Kawhi Leonard going. He can't keep shooting 35, 36, 40% from the field and expect for the series to go 6-7 games and work out well in your favor.
Yeah, so gut check. What is the series next time we talk? It's 1-1 right now. We have 2 more games. What do you think we'll be at?
So we have 2 more games, right?
Yes.
I could see it. I think best case scenario, it's 2-2, but I could also see it being, 3-1 Warriors also.
So wait, hold on. Back to the 2 games for next week. Is there a game Wednesday and Sunday?
I believe it's Wednesday and Saturday.
So the next game will be probably Tuesday. They're going to have 3 games in 14 days.
Yes, dude, I'm telling you, this series started a week ago Thursday, and it's going to end on Father's Day, which is June 16th if it goes 7.
They are putting 3 or 4 days in between each game.
That's a lot. Okay, man, that's ridiculous. But, no, Warriors in 6. Same as last time.
Warriors in 6.
Yep.
I think next time we talk, it's going to be 2-2. I really do. I think that the Raptors are going to go back. There's too many question marks. I know what I'm getting out of the Raptors. Whether it's bad Kyle Lowry, whether it's good Kawhi Leonard, I know who the players are going to be on the court. I have no idea what the Raptors are going to do. Little side note, Kevin Looney actually went out of the game too. Klay Thompson went out of the game. You have Andre Iguodala, who's banged up every other day. Steph Curry, is he going to be right? I don't think Kevin Durant's going to play in Game 3. How healthy is Boogie Cousins? Too many question marks for them to go back to Oakland, have things ready to go, to just dismantle the Raptors at home. I think we're going to be looking at a series that's 2-2 this time next week.
So you think it's going to be a tie game next week?
Yeah, I think we're going to play all the way into Father's Day. Give those dads something to look forward to.
So the whole new series, you think Pascal's going to head out of his ass?
Yeah, I think he will. I think he'll get it going.
Do you think Kyle Lowry's going to figure out the rules of basketball and realize he only gets 6 fouls and not 7?
No, I think Kyle Lowry's going to be Kyle Lowry till the day he dies.
It's very unfortunate for the Raptors. Game unfortunate thoughts for us.
Yes, I do.
It was all a dream. I used to read Run Up magazine.
Little known fact here. Rob Pelinka's first big break was on Sixth Sense, Stephen King's hit movie, early in his life. Rob Pelinka, I See Dead People. Vontez Burfict, Richie Incognito, the new Bash Brothers for Oakland. I actually just put it 2 and 2 together before the show that the Splash Brothers are actually a play on that. LeBron James wants his son to be his own person, not under the shadow of his father. Names his son LeBron James Jr. and sends him to go play with the son of Dwayne Wade for 4 years. Now that is a story that we've never seen before. Crazy stat of the day. The NBA is really cracking down on tampering. Doc Rivers was fined $50,000 for saying Kawhi Leonard is the closest thing to MJ. I actually ran the numbers on this, and this is the equivalent of fining a man who makes $50,000 a year, $250. Tampering is the equivalent to speeding in the real world. I'm sure he'll learn his lesson. List of things that are more healthy than the 2019 Golden State Warriors. Joel Embiid, the 2019 Yankees, and Rob Gronkowski for the remainder 8 games of the season. Doug Gottlieb saying R.J. Hampton should have notified teams earlier that he was going pro. You know what, Doug? I 100% agree with you. Coaches never promise kids scholarships and then back out last second. Doug Gottlieb, the people's champion, only if the people are multi-million-dollar coaches of billion-dollar teams.
Mm-hmm.
They say we're not turning into a participation trophy world, but there were only 8 winners of the Scripps National Spelling Bee. Anthony Joshua probably wishes he would have cashed in on the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury payday. Don King definitely didn't set up that fight. Gabriel Iglesias, heavyweight champion of the world. Skip Bayless, calling Kawhi Leonard number 2, only getting ahead of all of us referring to how many titles he's about to win. Boogie Cousin, Wolverine Healing Power. And there's a new movie out. It's titled Gridiron Gang Part 2, starring Richie Incognito and Vontez Burfict. And it was written by John Gruden and Mike Mayock. And those have been my thoughts.
Quick correction to the thoughts. The Sixth Sense was a movie by M. Night Shyamalan. It was never a book by Stephen King.
It was not a movie by Stephen King?
No, it was a book movie by M. Night Shyamalan.
Dude, I thought that was a Stephen King thing until just this second.
Well,
even whenever I was younger, I thought, man, that Stephen King, man, he's a real sick bastard, like scaring me in It and Sixth Sense.
He should will scare you, son of a bitch.
You serious though?
I swear.
Wow.
And Zaire Wade is actually a senior at Sierra Canyon, so they're only going to have 1 year together, not 4.
You guys are tearing me apart here, but I love it.
Jake, thoughts?
Tore yourself apart.
But well thought.
Well, I honestly, I really did think that Zaire, I thought they were going there together. Well, so Zaire wasn't on that team last year, was he?
Nope.
Because I know I had looked at their roster and they had like Kenyon Martin's son, Scottie Pippen's son, the kid who showed up to his prom in a Lamborghini. I knew that they had those guys, but
Yeah,
wow.
Cassius Stanley is actually going to Duke.
Yeah, connect the dots there with Coach K.
No, it's illegal.
Yeah, no, I would guarantee it is. So, guys, we'll go ahead and go to the curious case of Rob Pelinka. So we may be dealing with an all-time, like, bona fide crazy man. He's been on the spotlight recently, and there's been a ton of lies surfacing that he's told recently. So I'm going to just run down a list of a few odd things or just flat-out lies that he's told. So he told the lie about Kobe Bryant having a dinner with Heath Ledger after the release of the Dark Knight movie. Heath Ledger actually died prior to the release of the movie.
6 months prior. So, well before the movie was done post-production, he was dead.
Yes.
Some would call that half a year.
Yes, half a year. He referred to the Lakers' potential similar to Taylor Swift's. He had Contavious Caldwell-Pope play home games, I guess, the year prior to this last while serving a jail sentence. Only got to play home games, though. He referred to KCP as bread that fell from heaven in the Bible. Guys, what is your favorite Pelinkaism? And it doesn't even have to be one that I had listed prior.
So I didn't know that Contavious Caldwell-Pope one before I read the outline. But that's nuts. But for me, it's definitely the Heath Ledger dinner one. Because one, it's definitely a lot of Heath Ledger died for me when it came out. But two, I just want to think about, like, maybe he misspoke. Like, maybe he meant Christian Bale and Batman.
No.
Maybe,
He specifically...
I know what he said. But, like, maybe he just misspoke. Or maybe he got confused.
But he referred to him even as the Joker. He said that he wanted to know how he got so deep into that role as a villain.
Yeah, but I don't know.
As the villain. And everybody knew, even I knew Christian Bale was Batman, so he can't get an out on this one. If anybody knows what actor played a villain in the movie, they knew Heath Ledger was the Joker. I would say if you ran a worldwide poll, that would be the one that people knew the most.
But it's probably right. So I didn't like that, but I want to hear Kobe say. I hear Kobe's feeling this.
Yeah, I need to have Kobe doing a detail about the Pelinka press conference where he said that he had the dinner with Heath Ledger. Like, just pausing it, like, every 5 seconds, just talking about how he's lying, how his voice, how his, like, mouth is moving. I need that in my life.
No, Kobe's in line for that position. Best operations. There's no way he talks about Bob Pelinka right now.
I need it, though. I need him in detail.
Flex,
what's your favorite Pelinkism?
I got two. The first one is that Rob Pelinka actually looks 110% like Rob Lowe from Parks and Recs. I mean, they're just spitting images of each other. It really blows my mind. I've been rewatching that show this summer just to have something fun to watch, and it's just like, oh my god, that is Rob Pelinka. But my second favorite Pelinkaism, I guess you want to call it, is probably going to open us up to our next topic here. But Magic went on ESPN, had the first take interview, discussed everything that happened, explained the whole Rob Pelinka situation. And then 20 minutes later, Rob Pelinka, so surprised, couldn't believe Magic said that, was holding his own press conference talking about how it wasn't true. So it's like, you were just like, you were on the ball that fucking quick, or you knew about it beforehand and it was all true and you just wanted to do damage control. So those are my two favorite Rob Pelinka-isms.
Probably my favorite. Okay, so there's a few different things with Rob Pelinka here. So, have you guys ever watched the video of Chris Webber calling the timeout against Duke? It's like the most famous timeout call ever. Ends up sending him to the line. Technical foul. You guys remember that?
Yeah, I've seen it a few times.
So there was actually a player.
Rob was the guy in the timeout. He says, "Chris, I actually have a timeout left. Don't listen to Steve."
Dude, no, because there was actually a player from Michigan that is like, you see in the foreground Chris Webber thinking about calling the timeout, and somebody's in the background from Michigan on the bench calling timeout. I am 100% convinced because it was a white guy on the Fab Five. Rob Pelinka was on that team. And I am 100% convinced that it was Rob Pelinka. So that's one of my favorite ones. Another one I want to hit on, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope being compared to bread in the Bible. I love that. I absolutely love it because Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is nobody's savior, and I feel like if you're having bread fall from the heavens while you're starving, that is your savior. That is something that's going to, it's going to save you from the dead. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, I don't even think he's played in a postseason series yet, and he's already been on LeBron James' team, so that's another good one I like. And the fact that he talked about Taylor Swift, I just think that that's really weird and something we probably should have seen coming from Rob Pelinka years ago.
Yeah. He's messed up, dude. They were so void of talent that he actually thought KCP was sent from fucking heaven to him.
I absolutely love all the Rob Pelinka things. But we're actually going to have to research that picture a little more with Chris Webber because I am almost 100% convinced that it was Rob Pelinka because I know it was a white player from Michigan and Rob Pelinka was on that team.
He's been running a basketball team since the 90s. Think about that.
Who will do? We'll find out if he got any tick. Then we'll go through, find that game film, find him, then compare the two faces.
Yeah, no,
Have you seen him? You know he's not playing.
He actually did. He did play.
Wow.
He was like I think he was probably like the 8th or 9th guy in the rotation.
He was probably a Make-A-Wish kid or something. That's how he even got on the team.
I would not be surprised with Rob Pelinka. Guys, it is time for our Fletch on the Fly. So how this works is Leighton comes up with questions, and he presents them to Fletcher, and Fletcher gets to make 0 notes, does not know the questions, and it is basically Fletcher on the fly. So Leighton C., what do we have today?
Real quick, about Pelinka. He did win the championship with Michigan the year they won to look at the Fab Five. Then he started 2 games. After that, he started 1 game in his career, playing every game, though. Shot the ball 2.2 times per game, averaged 4.3 points, shot 5 minutes here. Minutes averaged 4, 8, and 9. So, not much to take you for Robbie.
Well, no, they had the Fab Five. I'm cutting him some slack. He was on one of the most prolific basketball teams in
History of
history.
basketball.
Yes.
Yep. All right, so first on the fly. So, book it down for you. Question number 1. R.J. Barrett, J.R. Morant, Zion Williamson. Who is the 4th best player in the NBA draft?
Who's the 4th best player?
Yes.
People like that Darius Garland guy out of Vanderbilt. I'm not so sure if I'm sold on him. 4th, though, I like Romeo Langford. Who's that shooting guard from USC? His name escapes me. He's got like 2 last names.
Porter Jr.?
Yeah.
I really like him. I honestly, who has the 4th pick in the draft? The Lakers. Well, the Lakers, they're going to trade it. But if you're in that 4 or 5 slot and you can get say his name again,
Porter Jr. Kevin Porter, maybe.
I think it's Kevin Porter.
Right. Yeah, that's it. If you can get him or Jarrett Culver, I really kind of like that pick. So, but he's one of those kind of guys whose game could really take off when he gets to the NBA because he's so athletic and he's so big and strong to play that 2-guard spot. Like, get a solid handle, get a solid jumper, and you're going to look at a guy who can contribute for a long time. So I think it's I'm bigger on Kevin Porter Jr. than a lot of people are, though. I think. You mean
to give you a celebrity shot here? If we turn injuries off, it's Bol.
Yeah, I bet it is.
No, it has to be, dude, because you remember how everybody was huge on Thon Maker? They have the exact same build. It's just that I know that Bol is actually skilled at basketball.
Drake is so obsessed with the idea that Pacers getting Bol. Like, Drake loves
Bol's already a Pacer. Bol's already a Pacer. I've got it inked and everything. John Morant is a son. Like, Zion's a Nick. The world is perfect.
I give it to a draft night until they take the Sabonis European clone and not Bol.
I'll take it.
I'm interested to see what the Pacers are going to do with the draft and free agency because they've really got a front court taken care of. But I think the guys who are available to them are really good front court players. So,
all right, second flick question plus on the fly. We're about to see possibly the most movement as far as magnitude goes in the history of the NBA offseason. So, Fletcher, who would be a surprise finals team for next season after all this movement?
A surprise final team for next season? That's a good question. Let me think here.
This
The
is
Warriors?
on the fly.
The immediate one that comes to my head is the Lakers, just because they didn't even make the playoffs. But I don't think it's that big of a surprise. Like if they get another star or two, and Golden State gets a little weaker with injuries and KD leaving, I think it's plausible to see them go. I think a big time sleeper for the finals could potentially be the Brooklyn Nets. They could get 2 stars, and then they have all the young pieces in place to an up and coming team already. I think that would be a true kind of surprise team for the finals in a lot of ways.
I'd be pretty shocked if the Nets are in the finals this time next year.
I'd actually heard that KD is really liking the Nets.
I heard that the Kyrie's preferred spot.
That's crazy.
So maybe he'd bring KD with him.
Yeah, that'll be a bunch of high character guys: D'Angelo Russell, KD, Kyrie. Just throw them out there and just see what happens.
All right, our last question. We all know the Knicks have a ton of salary cap going next season. But so do the Mavericks. I don't talk about the Mavericks at all. The Mavericks already have 2 studs in place in Porzingis and Doncic. So Fletcher, over the next 5 seasons, who would you rather have, the Mavericks or the Knicks?
Mavericks, not even a question. They got Luka Doncic. Duh. I've been big on him forever now. And they got Kristaps, and they got cap space. They don't have a pick this year, I don't believe. Yeah, they don't. But this isn't too deep of a draft class anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And the thing is, I don't think they're really concerned about drafting this year because drafting this year, I think that you would hope and pray to find a guy like Porzingis in the draft. So they're going to have 2 guys for cheap, and then they're going to try to get, 2 big guys around him, 2 big names around him, rather. I'm taking the Magic. No, not even a question. I've seen the Knicks fuck up good things before.
Yeah. No, dude. The Mavs, if they got Kemba Walker, that team would be unstoppable.
Well, they would definitely be stoppable.
Unstoppable. You heard it here first. No, they'd win a lot of basketball games, though. I mean, dude, that's like a team that, you throw a little bit of pieces of depth here and there, and you get a superstar. Like, they're ready to compete.
Yeah, they are ready, I think. I'm excited.
Yeah, so that just kind of segues us into the NBA free agency early predictions. So we have a list of guys here. We're having Fletch on, so we might as well take advantage of it. This is a topic that he's really wanting to discuss. So just an early predictor where guys are going to go. First on the docket, we're going to talk about two guys that haven't even ended their NBA season yet. First up, Kevin Durant.
Well, Kevin Durant, he's put his house for sale in the Bay Area, but that's not too shocking. Everybody on the Warriors staff and team is putting their house up for sale because the arena is moving across the Bay from Oakland to San Francisco because of the new arena that's opening up. So that's not a big deal, but there is rumor that he has already made a couple different bids for, like penthouses and condos and stuff in New York, which that actually says a lot, but that's not confirmed the way the the home for sale in San Francisco or in Oakland is. So for Kevin Durant, I think it comes down to two teams, really, the Warriors and the Knicks.
It's a hard decision to make.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. But apparently what some people in the NBA are saying is that Kevin Durant has already made up his mind and that he's wanted the Knicks and that he's actively recruiting players privately. The Knicks, as soon as the draft lottery came around, they said they were going to try to trade their pick for Anthony Davis. That shows me that, I think they pretty much feel that Kevin Durant is a guarantee. Now the fact that Kevin Durant's been injured and it's taken him time to get back, there is draw for concern and there is some doubt whether or not he will leave. There is one guy, and his name escapes me now. He writes for The Athletic, and he knows Kevin Durant and the Warriors really well. He's a beat writer for The Athletic on the Warriors. And he says that nobody knows. Even if Kevin Durant thinks he knows, he doesn't know, because what he explained is that Kevin Durant is a guy who can be easily swayed when he's in a room. And so the fact that he can meet with Joe Lacob or James Dolan from the Knicks, he can meet with either two of those owners and be swayed within a matter of 30 minutes to an hour and sign on the dotted line. So my gut reaction, due to the injury, I think he signs another 1 + 1 year contract with the Warriors and then looks to hop out for free agency once all the smoke and dust settles after this kind of big free agent class we have.
Yeah, I did think New York too. So it's been noted that Kevin Durant was one of the best player in the world, best players ever, and there is a blemish on his resume. People will see it as giving to the Warriors to eventually get a title. So I think Kevin Durant wants to be the best player in the world. He still don't think he is. So you go to New York and just try to get that done.
Yeah.
I have no idea what Kevin Durant. I don't, like you said, Kevin Durant doesn't even know what he's going to do. I could honestly, I'm actually going to go off on a limb here. Like you said, him being easily persuaded, I think it's going to be not the Warriors and not the Knicks. I don't know who it's going to be, whether Cubes locks him in a room like he did with DeAndre Jordan or whatever, they try next. I see him being persuaded at the last second, because when you boil it down, the Knicks have absolutely nothing. If you want to be the best player on a team and win a title, the Knicks is not the organization to go to. It would be somewhere like the Mavericks, who already have talent in place there for you to win, and an owner who wants to win and is actually smart enough to win. So no. I think it's going to be a dark horse here, because whenever he went to Golden State, everybody and their brother said, he's not going to Golden State. He can go anywhere, but he's not going to Golden State. I think we're going to run ourselves into a situation just like that again, part 2 with Kevin Durant. Last second, he's going to make a decision to go somewhere else. So we'll go ahead and go take away another piece of the Warriors and go with Klay Thompson. Where's Klay Thompson going?
Joe Lacob's already said, he's going to pay whatever it takes to keep Steph and Klay together. I think that, what those two have done for the Bay Area and the Warriors franchise, they've made that owner so much money. They brought so much publicity and fandom and notoriety. I think it'd be foolish just from a marketing and, advertising perspective to let those two separate, being the Splash Brothers. So I think it really comes down to the Warriors, and then there's a very, very slim chance that he can go to the Lakers. He's an ultimate LeBron guy, can score 60 points on 4 dribbles. His dad was a Laker. He has a house down in L.A. like every NBA superstar seems to have now. So I'm going to give him the slightest chance that he goes to the Lakers. There was a rumor that, if they were able to trade for Anthony Davis that the Lakers were able to trade for Anthony Davis during the season, that he would sign a max deal with the Lakers then, just because then he would be the third guy there. but that didn't happen. The Lakers are a dumpster fire, and Joe Lacob, the owner of the Warriors, doesn't want to see him go. So I'm leaning very, very heavily to Klay Thompson staying with the Warriors. This would be the most shocking guy to leave a team on this list, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's Warriors.
Yeah, it's Warriors. If there's one guy that's not going to leave in free agency, I would bet on Klay Thompson staying with the Warriors.
Yeah, yep.
So, actually, we'll go ahead and do a clean sweep with all the guys that are still playing. Kawhi Leonard. Where's Kawhi Leonard going after this season?
This is, people think it's a foregone conclusion that he's just going to LA. He's either going to go to the Clippers or to the Lakers. I just want to put this in perspective. When he left San Antonio, they had, his bird rights or whatever you want to call it. He left that team in particular. Kind of like the structure of the CBA. I don't know the nuances of it, but the way it was explained is that he left about $30 to $40 million on the table leaving the Spurs. And now he finds himself in a similar situation, but since this is his second team, he doesn't quite have that team doesn't have quite the contract or extension rights that the Spurs had. So they can still offer him more money than any other team, but it's still going to be less. So if he were to leave the Raptors now for the Lakers or the Clippers or whoever, he would be leaving another 30, 40 million potentially on the table. So when you think about it, that's 60 to 80 million dollars he's leaving on the table that he's just not even going to get to touch anymore. I am all for going to a better situation and maybe leaving, 10, 20 million dollars off the table, like Paul George, like get out of Oklahoma City, go to LA with LeBron and those younger guys. Like I think that would have made more sense. But $80 million, there are some guys. A lot of money. There are some guys, NBA careers, that don't make $80 million, and you're leaving that on the table, and it's not like he has a lucrative shoe deal. To me, I have it down to two teams. If I was Kawhi Leonard, one, re-sign with the Raptors. You've already looked at, what is that one thing? They do like Kawhi and Dine or something like that, where they're like so many restaurants in the city are giving him free meals. And then there's the big real estate developer who's willing to give him like, a
$1 million penthouse.
Yeah, like a multi-million-dollar penthouse. So it's yours for free. You look at the money you could get with Toronto, and then you look at that really great financial situation. Not only they have royalties in the NBA for jersey sales, so like players are clocking, percentages of royalties when someone buys their jerseys. Think about this: you're not only selling jerseys in the United States, you're selling jerseys in Canada too. I mean, there's a whole lot of business that's going on in Canada and United States here for Kawhi if he stays in Toronto, and I think he's going to be losing a lot. So for me, it comes down to two teams. The Raptors and the Lakers. I know people are thinking that the Lakers are a big joke and that the Clippers are where you want to go, but Kawhi's had to carry a team that we've only seen a handful of guys do, and one of those guys is still playing in LeBron James. I think he says, I could go play with LeBron. He does a lot of the heavy lifting for me, and, I can just kind of be the scorer and defender that I want to be. I can do that at a high clip. On top of that, LeBron and the Lakers, they really draw a lot of media attention. LeBron can take a lot of that for me. Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss, other aspects of the Lakers, the new head coach, they can all draw the media away from me. I can kind of slide under the radar, which is very Kawhi Leonard-like. So, but I'm going to still give it a 60-40 Raptors over the Lakers' favorite.
It's a good thing they said the Lakers don't make away from him now, because that make him sell even less clothing. We know that's part of his game.
Yeah, make as little money as possible.
I don't take that into account when I was making my notes for this, but that's a very compelling argument, Fletcher.
I think that the only advantage for him picking the Lakers over the Raptors is him being able to go there with LeBron, who's a guy who's able to cash in on absolutely everything, and Kawhi Leonard's a guy who can't cash in even on his own brand. So I think that would actually be a very smart move for him. But but basketball sense, I don't think it makes any sense at all. Like I think that the only thing that he could get out of going to the Lakers is getting some kind of business sense from LeBron James, and that's about as far as it goes, because he's going to be cast into the limelight. He's going to have to be, it's automatically going to be, well, whose team is this? Is it Kawhi Leonard's or is it LeBron James? Who's the best player on this team? And he's always flown under the radar, like you said. Even this whole entire season, nobody realized how good Kawhi Leonard had gotten until he made a Game 7 shot in the Eastern Conference semifinals. So I don't think it would be a move that Kawhi Leonard would like. I think, he wasn't happy with the Spurs, even though he's a complete fly-under-the-radar guy. That's all he did with the Spurs. Nobody really talked about him. He goes to the Raptors. Nobody really talked about him. I think that this is a perfect fit for him. The Raptors are, and I think he would be crazy to move, but I think that the only thing he would gain would be business sense from the Lakers. I'm going to guess that he goes to LA, but I don't think he's going to go to the Lakers. I think he'll go to the Clippers.
I think he'll go to the Clippers as well because the entire Kawhi saga, there's been one consistency to the story. That's that he wants to go to LA. And Lakers are a complete shit show. So I'm going to say the Clippers just off those two consistencies.
Depends. Is Uncle Dennis a Lakers fan or is he a Clippers fan? That's what it boils down to.
I don't know. If I were the Lakers, I would be doing a lot of things different. But one thing I would be doing is having Kobe Bryant out on the recruiting trail since he's not, affiliated with the Lakers like an official position. So we know Kawhi's a big Kobe fan. We know a lot of guys in the NBA right now grew up on Kobe, and more so than LeBron, except for like the rookies and younger guys who are now coming in, like your Luka Doncic and your Lonzo Balls and guys like that. But a lot of those guys, KD, Clay, Kawhi, a lot of those dudes grew up watching Kobe, so I would be sending Kobe out to talk to him. I think Kobe could sit him down in a room and convince him to come, but I think that Kawhi is another one of those, really good LeBron guys, shoots the ball well. He's going to be able to defend a lot, which, LeBron has really made more of a hobby than a profession lately, so I think he would really slide in well. Everything that LeBron doesn't do right now, which is, shooting the ball really consistently from deep, defending at a high level, Hustle. Kawhi does that, and so they kind of mix in together. They let LeBron do a lot of the rebounding, ball handling, distributing, and then Kawhi Leonard's there to play off of him different aspects of basketball. So I think it makes sense as far as basketball too.
So we'll go ahead and go to 276ers. We'll start off with Jimmy Butler first.
Okay, I'm going to take this one first.
Okay.
So this is...
Leighton's been chomping at the bit to just nail the 76ers right here.
Well, first I had a long pause, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So, before we get out of the way, I just got to say this because the contention on this happening. I think Anthony Davis goes to Boston.
Okay.
In a trade. So, Jimmy Butler, I have two places for him now. Either the Lakers or the Celtics. Celtics because in order to get Anthony Davis, I imagine they have to trade one or both of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So, they'll need a wing scorer, Jimmy Butler, to play alongside Anthony Davis. Boston, I think, through the Lakers. Anything I've read and people have been saying is that Jimmy Butler would likely want to go to the Lakers, and the Lakers are going to sign somebody, and they're going to trade for somebody, so Jimmy Butler will go to the Lakers.
Would that not be the ultimate Lakers move, though? Like, they're putting all their pieces in the middle of the table, they're going for one of the best players in the NBA, and the guy they get is Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I don't think... That's the thing, there are a handful of guys in this free agency that are really going to move the dial. I know Jimmy Butler's a top player and a top free agent, but no one's going to sign, and I mean no one is going to sign a guy like Jimmy Butler and say, all right, now we're locked for the finals. It's just not going to happen. It doesn't matter what team he goes to. It doesn't matter if he goes back to fucking Philadelphia.
What about the Warriors?
They're already a lock for the finals without him, so, adding him does not make them a lock for the finals. I'm with Leighton. I think he wants to go to the Lakers, or I think he wants to go to LA, rather. We'll see if he wants to go to the Clippers or the Lakers. I know that he has also been eyeing a spot in Brooklyn as well. I think he just wants to be a star in a big market, and for that kind of mindset, he's not a guy I want on my team. I don't think he's a guy who's going to lead to winning. As talented as he is, he's getting older. He's getting a few injuries. You pay him a 4 or 5 year deal, and at the end of it, you're paying him $35 million, and he's hurt, and he's not an all-star anymore. It's like you kind of worked yourself into this situation. I think it's 50-50. Brooklyn Nets, LA Lakers, or LA Clippers, whatever team in LA he decides to go to. But if the Lakers strike out on Kawhi, Klay Thompson, doesn't look like the AD trade's going to go through, I really expect them to push everything at Jimmy Butler and try to just make huge marketing pitches around this guy. And I don't think it's going to be what they hope it is, but
you got to get somebody.
Yeah, got to get somebody. And you look at the 76ers situation, like, yeah, they have the 8th most salary cap in the NBA, but if you look at the players that they have signed, they have Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons. Then you get to Jonathan Simmons, Zaire Smith, and then Jonah Bolden. And then a bunch of guys I've never even heard of. So, yes, they do have $37 million of salary cap, but they have absolutely nothing on the roster to show for. I know that Joel Embiid is a phenomenal talent who's going to play 60 games a year, who's going to be hurt in the postseason. Like, this team needs depth. They don't need Jimmy Butler. I don't think that I think they're going to take the high road on this one, kind of be smarter. If they're going to re-sign a guy, I feel like Tobias Harris would make a whole lot more sense, especially if your big man's going to be hurt most of the time. So I would be very surprised if Jimmy Butler's a 76er this time next season. I like what you guys say, though. I really think that Jimmy Butler, it would be the most Lakers thing to do to sign Jimmy Butler for like 4 years with max money and kind of get like, a top 20, top 25 player in the NBA who, is going to be on the back end of his career very soon.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler's coming up on 30 now, and here's the thing: I would 100%, and not just the 76ers, but any team, I would 100% look to sign Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler, solely for the fact that Tobias is 26 and Jimmy Butler is going to be 30 this year during this season. So you're looking at a guy who's got 3 more years until he's 30, which is great. It's like the kind of the age where you start writing guys off in professional sports, but then he's an efficient shooter, so he creates space on the floor. He can handle the ball. He can score at all 3 levels of the court too. Hits free throws. Tobias Harris is a guy for me who could fit on any team and, really fits well in the NBA, where Jimmy Butler, he's the kind of guy who needs the ball in his hands more. He earns a lot of pick and rolls, a lot of mid-range stuff, slashing to the basket. Like, that's not going to work well with LeBron. Like, you're just getting a way better Lance Stevenson, and Lance Stevenson barely works with anybody. So, no.
So we'll stay with the 76ers and we'll go to Tobias Harris. Guys, where do you think he goes?
So, Jake, remember how maybe a month ago I talked to you about the free agents and we said that Tobias Harris is the one that, he's a max player guy, but he's the one because you have money to spend and you get to somebody?
Yes.
So I have no fucking idea where he's going to go, but here are the options for you. 76ers, Lakers, Mavericks, Knicks, Nets. One of those 5 teams. I can't at least figure either the way. Fletch has said he heard he wants to go to Brooklyn. That's all I have to go off of.
I think Brooklyn would be a good fit.
But I don't know. The 76ers, so I'm kind of feeling the Mavs. Because the Mavs are going to sign somebody because they have a lot of money to do it with. Mm-hmm. And they're competing around them. I can see Tobias selling and going to the Mavericks if it was the best fit for him. But with him, I think there's no telling.
Yeah, Tobias Harris, he can fit on a lot of different teams and he'd work well in a lot of different places. I really, truly believe that the Brooklyn Nets, Dallas Mavericks, and the Pacers are probably all going to try to make hard pitches at this guy. Mainly the Pacers and the Mavericks, just because I think they understand, hey, man, we're not getting your A-plus kind of guys. We're going for the Tier 2 kind of guys. You got to be careful going for Tier 2 guys, though, and offering them max money, because then you get stuck in a situation like the Mavericks were in, 3-4 years ago, where Wesley Matthews is on a 4-year, $80 million deal. Harrison Barnes is on a 5-year, $90 million deal.
Chandler Parsons.
Yeah, you don't want that. You got to be careful, but at the same time,
that's an all-time deal.
Barring injury, Tobias is going to be there and he's going to contribute and he's going to do really well. But you just got to be careful, because this is how those small market teams kind of get caught in mediocrity, is signing a tier 2 guy for max money, and then something happens. So, but there are a lot of different places he could go to and fit in. Nets, Mavericks, and Pacers are kind of my watchful spots for him.
It's kind of funny that that's who you like, because that's who I really think are the 2 teams that I like Tobias Harris going to the most, is either the Pacers or the Mavericks. Because if he goes to the Mavericks, he's going to jump right in, play the 4 on a team, and everybody on the team is going to be able to shoot, which would be a really fun thing to watch. And Tobias Harris, he's a 20-point-a-night guy who's going to get you 8 rebounds, so he could slide right into the 4 over there, or he could go to the Pacers, which we've seen Tobias Harris play the 3 for half of his career. He's basically been a 3-4 type guy, and he could play alongside with Miles Turner and Sabonis, giving them one of the most deadly front courts in the NBA. And I think that would probably be his best fit, because it's not like he's going to if he goes somewhere and he wants a chance to win, he cannot be the best player. And if he's on Victor Oladipo's team, he is not the best player. And even in 2 years, 3 years from now, he might be their third best player. So I think that if he's wanting to win and he wants to be a contributing factor to a team that's winning, I think the Mavericks or the Pacers are by far his best options. So we'll go to Kemba Walker. Where do you guys think Kemba Walker's going to end up?
He's got pretty much the same kind of places. I mean, he could re-sign for Charlotte for big money. That's a given. And he's looking at New York because he's from, I believe he's from Brooklyn, so he's probably looking at the Brooklyn Nets or the New York Knicks. Eyeing some team in New York. But again, I think it's going to come down to three teams. Really, I think it's going to come down to the Mavericks. I think it's going to come down to the Pacers. I think it's going to come down to the Brooklyn Nets. Same thing with Tobias Harris. I
100% agree.
Brooklyn, they're looking at your top guys, but there is a chance that they could just strike out on all of them. And they've got D'Angelo Russell, they've got Karis LeVert, they've got Spencer Dinwiddie, they've got Jonathan Allen. They've got a lot of nice young pieces around there to build. You add another star or two, like a Tobias Harris, like a Kemba Walker, you're looking at a team that, with the progression of their younger guys, could really be, challenging for the Eastern Conference, depending, if Boston doesn't get anything going and Kawhi Leonard leaves. They are a team that could definitely challenge for the Eastern Conference for years to come. But if I'm Kemba, like I said, it's going to be the Mavericks, the Pacers, or the Nets. I mean, if you're looking to win and you want to sign max money, those are the three places you have to consider, I think.
I feel like going back to the Hornets would be probably the most boring thing Kemba Walker could possibly do.
He's going to make a mistake for himself and for the Hornets.
Yes, because I feel like the Hornets are going to pay Kemba Walker like the most money. They're going to end up with the Mike Conley syndrome, where you're paying a guy who shouldn't be paid what he's paid just because you have to pay him. And that would be absolutely atrocious for the career of Kemba Walker. Now, don't get me wrong, he's going to get a tremendous payday, but it would be the most boring product for the NBA as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't really have a spot for him either, but I really like the idea of going to the Pacers. I think that would be the best spot for him.
The Pacers would be nice.
I did a bit interesting with Kemba earlier, I was curious about this. Over the past 4 seasons, he's averaged 23 points, 5.5 assists, and 2.3 turnovers. Do you know how many players in the NBA averaged 23 points, 5.5 assists, and 3 turnovers?
Who?
4. Kemba, Steph, Damian Lillard, and Kyrie Irving.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So you're looking at a top 5 point
I would have guessed.
NBA.
I would have guessed. I thought Dame would have had more turnovers, but I knew Steph probably was right there, but I couldn't name the other ones. Wow, that is insane.
If you get a top 5 point guard in the NBA, I think he'd be awesome on the Pacers.
Oh yeah, the front court set. You have Victor Oladipo at the 2. You just throw him out there. You re-sign Bogdanovich, and you got a team that can compete.
Yeah, looking at your payroll early, all you guys gotta do get him is get rid of Collison. 2 and can't remember the 2 guys' names, but it was not Bogdanovich. You keep him.
Yeah,
in this
you
world.
keep Bogdanovich. So Chris Middleton. Does Chris Middleton leave the Bucks or does he stay?
Chris Middleton, I think it's almost like 100% guarantee. I think Chris Middleton's probably going back.
Yes.
Giannis wants everybody back big time. They're not going to be able to bring everybody back because Brook Lopez is going to look to capitalize off this year of hitting more 3-pointers than Kobe ever did in a season and having more blocks than KG did in one season. He's going to capitalize off this, sign the fattest contract possible, and then probably just go off and retire afterwards. So there's no
Back
chance
to the Lakers.
There's no chance that they get the whole team back, but I think it's a very, very slim chance that they let Chris Middleton walk. So, but if he were to leave again, I think we're looking at the Mavericks, Pacers, and potentially the Brooklyn Nets too.
Yep, I think it's a slam dunk for the Bucks. But we were talking about earlier with the last guy getting a max deal. Watch out for the Lakers. If the Lakers can't trade for Anthony Davis and can't trade for Bradley Beal, damn it, they're going to bring somebody in. And it might have to be Chris Middleton.
Yeah, I think, whenever you talk about guys that are slam dunk to stay, I think Klay Thompson's one, and then you have 1B being Chris Middleton. I think it's just too good of a situation to leave. Like, he did not play that good in the Eastern Conference Finals. Nobody batted an eye. Nobody talked about it. I mean, the guy's an all-star. He can fly under the radar. He's going to make more money with the Bucks than he will anywhere else. So I think it's just the obvious choice for Chris Middleton.
Yeah.
So last actual free agent we have. It's almost dead set, game set match that he's going to be opting out, and that's Kyrie Irving. Where will Kyrie Irving go this next offseason?
China, probably. just go Nuclear Marble, just run the Chinese league.
Well, he really could. He could probably just go there straight on a train. I mean, it's all flat, just flat surface, just go on over.
Yep,
Yeah.
seriously.
Be easy to travel, probably about a 2-hour flight in his mind.
You could, yeah, but no, I'm going to the Knicks. Don't put KD in the Knicks. That'd be a drama-filled mess in New York.
No.
So,
He's going to go to the Knicks by himself, and I cannot wait for that. You look at him whenever he doesn't play with a superstar. He's absolutely he's a stat stuffer, nothing else. It is the best possible matchup for James Dolan to get Kyrie Irving this offseason, and absolutely nothing else. Those two guys deserve each other, and they will get it.
okay.
Yeah, so I mean, Kyrie, I think that his preferred landing spot is one of the two teams in New York. He is leaning more and more towards the Lakers, though. Apparently, he's been meeting with LeBron and stuff like that. So, I don't know what he's going to do, though. Kyrie Irving, I've been saying it for a while, is more like Allen Iverson, more so than Kobe Bryant, and because he's always had when he hit that clutch shot in Game 7 or whatever, the 2016 finals, he was talking about Mamba mentality, and he has a consultant kind of relationship with Kobe Bryant. So I think if Kobe were on this Boston Celtics team, though, he at some point he would have just been like, fuck it, and he would have figured it out. Kyrie never did that, and now he wants to leave. He didn't want to be with LeBron because he wanted to be his own man. He tries to go lead people and be his own man, can't do it, gets pissed off, wants to leave there too. Not much makes sense to me about Kyrie. I think it realistically just comes down to one of the teams in New York or LA, and depending on what he's feeling that day is going to determine where he goes. If he wants to go back with LeBron, he'll do that. If he says, fuck it, I want to try, lead my own team, and it was all Boston's fault that particular day, then he'll go to the Nets or he'll go to the Knicks. That's pretty much it.
It's never Kyrie's fault. And the thing I love about it is that I think the worst thing possible for Kyrie for the trajectory of his career was hitting that game, hitting that seal the deal shot for the Cavaliers, because I think that put in his head that he is the man, he is the best player on the Cavaliers, and I think that he's kind of just carried that mentality throughout, because I feel like if he had never hit that shot, they never win a championship, he would have stayed with LeBron James and basically just went wherever he went. And it's dude, you guys would have never been in this position. You guys, there's a reason why you are picking first overall, with you being the best player on the team. Now LeBron comes here, and now all of a sudden you guys are good. I honestly think every single time Kyrie steps on the court, he believes he's the best player, and he's not going to listen to anybody else. I think he's going to the Knicks, hell or high water, doesn't need KD there, probably prefers no KD, wants to do it all himself. He probably doesn't even want him to draft a third overall. He just wants to go there with a bunch of scrubs and score 30 points a night.
I'll tell you a little nugget about Kyrie. Towards the end of LeBron's run in Miami, there was one game they were playing back at Cleveland, and this is LeBron's. This is the year. It was ultimately his last year, but it was the second to last year in his contract. But he could have opted out, which he ultimately did of his last year, so it made him a free agent that year, and everybody kind of knew that. And in Cleveland, they were coming back to play in Cleveland, and everybody in Cleveland was going nuts and trying to be nice to LeBron now, and showing a lot
his jerseys.
Well, they were being a lot more gracious to him than they were the first time. And LeBron had a big game and wound up sealing the deal and beating him. And it was kind of a close game. And it was reported that when he went back into the locker room, he was yelling at his team, I don't understand what the big deal about LeBron is. He's not that great. They barely beat us. We're not that much, far back than they are. I don't understand why everybody loves him, and why don't they love me, kind of thing. So I think he's had this resentment about LeBron for a minute and not having all the limelight to himself. So he's just he's more of a me guy than a we guy, and that's the kind of guy I really don't want.
No, I absolutely agree. So guys, last one on the docket. He's not going to be a free agent this year, but a lot of people
wishes.
Yes, he sure wishes. A lot of people think that he might as well be. Anthony Davis what is our early prediction for Anthony Davis? Where does he go? Does he get traded, or do they keep him with the Pelicans and re-sign him?
Well, David Griffin, the new GM or president of basketball operations, sat down for the Pelicans. Sat down with Anthony Davis. They had breakfast or lunch or something in LA together. David Griffin's a smart guy, and I have a lot of faith in him. But Anthony Davis's problems are not solved by a bald guy, with glasses up in the front office. His problems rely that he has no point guard, that he has no supporting cast. And that doesn't change with David Griffin. He's going to fix a lot, but there are just some things you can't fix in a year, and this is one of them. I think it makes the most sense for both parties to separate, go their separate ways, get all you can for Anthony Davis now, because people said during the trade deadline, they were like, dude, trade him now, because what if he gets hurt? Do that. They didn't do it, and there were injury scares with him, and then they ultimately wound up having to sit him for a good amount towards the end of the season. I say trade him now. Don't risk injury again. He's been injured in the past. I'm sure he's going to get hurt again. Trade him to New York, because the owner, Gail Benson, does not want to trade him to LA or anywhere in the West for that matter. Get the third pick. Let the Grizzlies take John Morant, and then you can just take RJ Barrett, and then you have Zion, RJ Barrett. You have Drew Holiday. You try to thief some younger pieces from the Knicks as well. See what you can get. And you just move on. You've been handed a great opportunity to hit the restart button, one that doesn't get handed out very often in professional sports. Take advantage of it. But also, real quick, I just want to say this. AD has been kind of wishy-washy on telling the Pelicans no. And so I think if I'm Rich Paul, I'm like, hey, how about you don't go to any more meetings and you just let me do the talking, because you're clearly incapable of standing up for yourself. So
gut check. Where does he play first game of the season?
I got to think David Griffin's smart. I got to think that Rich Paul steps up at some point and takes care of things for Anthony Davis. I think he starts game 1 for the Knicks.
Okay, yeah, wow. But I agree with you that that's what should happen.
Worst case scenario for Kyrie.
I think he's gonna be in Boston.
He's like, son of a bitch.
When can I be the best player? Even when I was with the Celtics, everybody loved Brad Stevens more than me.
Yeah, no shit.
But I think go to Boston. I think Danny Ainge knows once they knows they need him. I think push comes to shove and he has to give Jason Tatum, he'll do it. And if you're the Pelicans and you get Jason Tatum and some draft picks, you gotta take that trade.
Yes.
Because we know Jason Tatum is, we know what RJ Barrett's gonna be. You gotta take the sure thing.
Yeah, dude. I mean, if you're the Pelicans, you are better set to just take just a single lottery pick than sit there with Anthony Davis on your team.
Yeah,
because after you are not going to win a title with, you're not even going to, you may make the playoffs with Zion Williamson, Drew Holiday, and Anthony Davis. Maybe, if you're lucky. So, and in the West, it's probably not going to happen. So, you are better set with just anybody that's going to be there after this year on the cheap that you could possibly develop. I don't see why you sit there and just waste him away on the team. We've seen him just basically pull himself out and not play. The guy does not want to be there. All it's going to do is poison the first year of Zion's NBA career, being with a guy that absolutely hates being there. That would be the ultimate thing to see. You're the number 1 pick in the draft. You walk in the room. As soon as you walk in, you see a top 5 player in the NBA. You go over there, shake his hand. He just looks at you and he says, "This place sucks."
This place is like big dick. I'm trying to get out of here still.
That it would be the worst look for them. You have to get what you can. Just get what you can and move on.
I said, David Griffin, smart guy, as great as he is at his job, he doesn't solve AD's problems. As great as fucking Zion is, he doesn't solve AD's problems either. Like they're gonna go on the road at Tuesday in Denver, and they're still gonna get waxed. Zion doesn't. He can only do so much. You know what I mean? So hit the reset. Not only do you get another talented young player in either Jason Tatum or RJ Barrett, and potentially other guys you could fleece from the Knicks, like you could get Mitchell Robinson and Dennis Smith Jr. and then draft RJ Barrett. 2 guys that can grow together, and you keep both of them, and they like each other, so they might want to stay in New Orleans together. That might be something you want to try. Having superstars that want to stay in your city to start with, but you got to take that reset when it's there, and not only that. you get flexible, or you get more cap flexibility too. You're not stuck paying Anthony Davis $150 million.
Yeah, no, I have the ultimate trade here. Biggest middle finger to LeBron. Way to finesse your old team for David Griffin. You call up the Cavaliers, you get Colin Sexton, you get their number one pick for this year, and you move on. Because you get yourself at least a point guard that's serviceable, a guy that's young, and then you can get whatever you can in the draft on top of Zion, on top of Holiday if you want to trade him. I think that would actually be a fun team to watch. I don't think they would be very good the first year, but you have something to build on, better than Anthony Davis walking in free agency.
I don't think the Cavs would do that. I think they're kind of going in a different direction that doesn't involve them acquiring win-now talent.
Dude, it's the Cavaliers. If they get a chance to get Anthony Davis, they're going to jump all over it. We've seen them time and time again just mismanage situations. They're like the Knicks. They will mismanage any situation that you put in front of them. I hope, at least. That's my dream NBA.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and play darts. Leighton, what is on the docket for us today?
Sauce Cup Time Machine.
Sauce Cup Time Machine. So
game.
this is the way the game works. We will each throw a dart. We will each throw 2 darts at separate times. Each time the dart hits the dartboard, it will have a number. The number represents something different, and we will discuss in chronological order when these things are going to happen. So, everybody, the first dart. We have a 10, we have a 4, and we have a 3.
Okay, I've been waiting for a 10 for months now. The 10 is a high school player taking number 1 overall in the NBA draft.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
4 is HGH, she's taken off the banned substance list for MLB.
I wish that was now.
And 3, the NBA expands. Okay.
All 3 of these need to really fucking happen.
Yes,
Yeah,
all
that-
3 need to
that'll
happen
be
like
good.
today.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say I'll go first. The first thing that's gonna happen, I think, a high school player taking number 1 in the NBA draft.
That'll be in the next 5 years.
Yes, they've all been talking about allowing them to get into the draft, so that would happen before any kind of expansion. Expansion will be the next thing, I think, on the list. The NBA as a global brand is growing rapidly. Great to have 2 more teams in it. Preferably 1 in St. Louis, only 2.5 hours away, or 2 hours away anymore would be awesome.
The spirit of St. Louis, bring it here.
And then third, HJ on a banned substance list. People might be back on it for all we know. Definitely juice back in baseball, but I don't think we'll ever see this one come off the list.
Yeah, I think that we're never going to see HGH come off the list. I mean, we can be as wishful as we want, but that will never happen. So that's going to be dead last for me. I'm going to make the bold claim now. We're going to have a player come out of high school and be taken number 1 in the draft within the next 5 years. I think that rule will change within the next 2. And then ultimately we'll have a guy good enough to go number 1, hopefully. It'll probably be Bronny Jr., actually. So I'll go ahead and plant the flag in the sand and say Bronny Jr. will be the first guy back to being the number 1 high school player taken. And then number 2, the NBA expands. I hope that happens. I think we'd actually get more parity in a league with more teams. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. Fletch, what do you got?
Well, number 1 is the high school player being drafted number 1. By 2021, high school players again will be eligible for the NBA draft. Talk about LeBron James Jr. There's a guy in his class, another 8th grader. His name's Mikey Williams. You ought to YouTube him because it just blows my mind that an 8th grader can do the shit that he does on the basketball court.
Can you beat him one-on-one?
No, and
Wow.
no, not even close.
That's
and there's
pathetic. I bet Leighton Seed body him.
And there's another
Body.
kid. There's another kid in their class. He's like 6'8" or 9 already, and he just his name escapes me. It's like Bahari or something like that. But anyway, he's really talented too. So both those guys you should YouTube. They might be number 1 picks coming out of high school. Seriously, that's obviously number 1. Number 2, NBA expansion, and that's a close 2 behind them because I know that people want another basketball team back in Seattle. They want the Supersonics back. If they do that, though, they're going to have to bring a team to the Eastern Conference, too, to balance it out. So bring a team to the Knicks, bring a team to the fucking Seattle area, give them the Supersonics back, and then make the spirit of St. Louis here in fucking St. Louis and bring a basketball team there. That would be sweet. And then, the baseball, they're barely getting on the whole legalizing, sports betting thing, and that's 100% legal. There's no way they come off of HGH.
No, I agree there. So, second round of darts. That's probably the first time we've all agreed on
I
something.
think so.
We have a 19, a 6, and a 14.
Okay, 19. Kawhi retires to a quiet town in western Nebraska. 6. The NFL allows teams to kick a 45-yard PAT for 2 points. And 14. The NBA installs a 4-point line.
NBA installs a 4-point line will be number 2. Kawhi will retire before any of the other two happen. I'm going to go Kawhi retires to a quiet town in western Nebraska. Basically just disappears off the face of the flat earth in Kyrie Irving's mind.
Not selling any clothes.
Not selling any New Balance. Well, no, New Balance will be using his brand, but he won't be making any money.
Yep.
And then the 4-point line. And then the last one, I think the NFL will allow a 2-point conversion from 45-yard kick. I think they're trying to get kicking out of the game altogether.
Yeah. I definitely have the 45-yard PAT being last in this. I'm trying to think about how long Kawhi had left to play. I can see there being a 4-point line for the next 8 to 10 years. So can Kawhi play that long? I think it's safe bet and say no. So first they have Kawhi retiring, second 3-point line, third 2-point PATs.
Yeah, oddly enough, I don't know why, but I got the 2-point PAT first, and then I got Kawhi retiring, and then I had the 4-point line in basketball.
We want to
I think-
elaborate on that 2-point.
I don't think the 4-point line will ever happen, just because the Big Three already has the 4-point circle, and that the NBA, like, since they weren't the first ones to the party, they don't want to feel like they're copycatting anybody, so they're not going to do it.
It'd be interesting if they did make it. I think it'd actually make basketball a little more interesting to watch because Daryl Morey's only going to get like sharpshooters that stand 90 feet away from the basket trying to hit that shot. It doesn't matter where that shot is. Daryl Morey will say that it's a better shot than any other shot in the game.
Yeah.
Man, you make it with double dunkers.
Yeah, but a dunk's guaranteed.
Not necessarily.
More often than not, a dunk's
More
guaranteed.
often than not, yes.
So, guys, we'll go ahead and switch gears here. R.J. Hampton. So, we've seen this story before quite a few times from college players. Most of the time that they go overseas, it's because of grades. And we also saw it in the MLB last week. A top player decides to forego the farm system. The NBA calls their farm system the NCAA. And R.J. Barrett signs a 1-year deal with the New Zealand Breakers. Guys, what are your thoughts on this decision?
I think it's it's really a matter of time because they can't go to the NBA. They're prohibiting 18-year-olds from using their talent to make money. So I think it's just a matter of time. And I think we might not see this will happen more often than it did before in the past, obviously, until the NBA changes their rule on age requirements.
My thoughts on this is that he's 100% right. He said it when he was on ESPN the other day. He said, my goal is never to play college basketball. My goal is to play in the NBA. And so he felt like this is going to get him one step closer and more ready for that NBA. And I don't have a problem with it.
No, I absolutely love this. I don't know why people don't do this more often. And he's even going to move his whole entire family over there, so it's not like he's missing out on much. It's not like it's an 18-year-old jumping countries and just going out on his own. Like, he's thought this out. And this guy, he could have... Stanford even wanted him. The guy had a 3.7 GPA and scored a 1,280 on his SAT, which is like in the top 80th percentile in the country. So it's not like a Terrence Ferguson situation where he's just not getting in any other schools.
No.
I absolutely love it. Go ahead, cash in on while you can, and you're still going to be a top 5 player in the draft. You have guys all the time that are top picks. Look at Luka Doncic. Doesn't play a single game in college basketball, still gets drafted top 5 overall, and he's more pro-ready than any other player in his draft class. So I absolutely love it. Do you guys think that this is going to be more of a normalized thing? I know that the NBA is going to change the rules probably within the next couple of years, but do you think there's going to be a guy who follows in his footsteps on the next draft class?
Fuck, I would.
Yes,
Yeah. That's what
absolutely.
I say, yeah.
I just don't.
Especially if you go to a country like New Zealand, they speak English. It's not like you got to have a translator with you all the time either.
No, I absolutely agree with that. I think this is the smart move, and I don't know why more people don't do it. Did you guys see what Dan Gottlieb did?
No.
Dan or Doug?
Or Doug Gottlieb.
Yeah, I don't know who Dan Gottlieb is.
No, Doug Gottlieb made a tweet. He's like, if you had this deal in place, you should have notified the coaches sooner. That's just an ultimate DB move. He put DB, I assume that's a douchebag, and said how classless it was for the 18-year-old to do this.
Well, Jake, it's funny that you say that. Okay, great segue to shit take of the week. Because
Yes.
that is my shit take of the week.
Okay, okay. We'll go ahead and segue to shit take of the week, guys. We listen to a lot of shows, we watch a lot of TV, and we talk about the worst takes of the week. Leighton C, go ahead and take it away. Explain this for us.
Whole tweet word for word. RJ Hampton agreeing to sign in New Zealand a month ago and telling his coaches this week is about as classless as they come. I've known his parents, call the coaches, tell them your decision. They all would have wished him well and moved on. What a DB move. So, basically, okay, so I decided this is who Doug Gottlieb is. Doug Gottlieb is super pissed off that
He's a douchebag.
he wasn't this super athletic freshman basketball player who's just okay good in college.
Or even a coach.
And now he's mad at everybody who wants to use their talents to better their lives without going through the system he thinks is what to go through. He is definitely Jay Billis's enemy number one.
Yeah, he's Jay Billis' evil twin.
No, Jay Billis loves players. Oh, yes, evil twin.
Yes, he's Jay Billis'
like it.
evil twin.
He's Bizarro,
Fucking
the evil
stupid.
Superman. The evil Superman.
The evil
No.
Superman.
I'll tell you what, Karis LeVert, guy who plays for the Brooklyn Nets, played at Michigan. He's out of Columbus, Ohio. Karis LeVert is, and he had an offer. He didn't get many offers coming out of school. I think he was only like a 3-star recruit, and he got an offer from Dayton. That coach from Dayton left Dayton to go to U of I. And when he was in the process of leaving, the coach reached out to Karis LeVert and was like, "Hey, man, I just want to be upfront with you. I'm going to Illinois, and we'll be in touch." Karis LeVert, okay, whatever. Never heard back from him.
Wow.
Guy got to Illinois, never heard back from him. John Beeline came, scooped him up, and the rest is history. But Doug Gottlieb wasn't handing out shoulds then, and so I think it's kind of pretty shitty of that fucking idiot to hand out shoulds now on RJ Hampton rather, who's going to capitalize on his talents.
No, this is like an all-time douchebag move by Dan Gottlieb or Doug Gottlieb. See, I don't even have enough. It's kind of like the Skip Bayless, Kawhi Leonard thing. Like I don't even have enough respect to say his name. It's just absolutely terrible. How many times are you watching a game on Saturday college football and they talk about, well, he was actually going to go to this school, but they revoked his offer, and now he just went off for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. Like, that same situation happened this last year whenever I was sitting there watching it. It's like the night of signing day, they pulled the kid's scholarship and he had to go to a different school. So this stuff happens all the time. Do you think that Coach K, whenever he's out recruiting guys, looks at his number of scholarships and says, okay, I only have 4 scholarships I can hand out this year. I'm only going to recruit 4 kids. No. You overshoot your boundaries and then you dial it back in. This is what everybody does. You go around, you find the best offer, whatever suits you the best, you take it. And for them to come out and say that, Doug Gottlieb to come out and say that, this is maybe the worst take we've ever had on here, especially calling an 18-year-old a douchebag.
Yep, that's really pushing on top.
The kid graduated high school like a week ago and you're calling him a douchebag.
Yeah. Well, it's probably because he's already making more money than Doug Gottlieb, so.
He should be. So, Fletch, what is your shittiest take of the week?
Mine, game 1, Kawhi Leonard had 23 and 8, pretty pedestrian game, honestly. Didn't shoot that great from the field, and so Skip Bayless was not holding back. You'd think he was talking about LeBron James the way he was going after number 2 for the Raptors, and just going to town on him, And Chris Broussard was there during this take, and Skip doing the typical thing he does, kind of gets outrageous with it, and Skip or Shannon and Chris, and they start kind of busting his balls a little bit, telling him that he's just saying this because he just wishes he was on the Spurs still doing all this stuff for him, and he probably does. Resentment's probably a real thing, a part of it, and sure, you're allowed to have emotions. But where he took it too far is where he said, "The Spurs, we're going to be better off without Kawhi Leonard, and not only are we going to be better off without Kawhi Leonard, Derek White, who is a 25-year-old." Point guard who spent all 4 years in college at Colorado is going to be a superstar, And Deontay Murray, who is 22 years old, coming off an ACL tear, is also going to be a superstar. So that's my shittiest take of the week, that he thought those two guys are going to be superstars, which they could be, but they're not. And then he thought that, his team would be better without Kawhi Leonard, because DeMar DeRozan does so many things better than Kawhi Leonard does.
I absolutely DeMar DeRozan, the guy who learned the clutch gene from Kyle Lowry is there was my Skip Bayless coming in. No, but I absolutely love that. And my shittiest take of the week is actually
Skip Bayless.
It is Skip Bayless. So, guys, I promised you Skip Bayless takes until the end of the basketball season, and boy, do I have one for you. So Kawhi Leonard yesterday.
They're really easy to come by during basketball season, too.
Yes, he scored 34 points, 14 rebounds, 5 were offensive, and 3 of them were on the last possession that they were trying to score on. He had 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. He had 1 foul in 38 minutes. He was 16 for 16 from the line. He led the entire floor in points and rebounds. Guys, what would you give Kawhi Leonard's grade if you were grading a guy from an A to F scale?
A.
Well, I know his shooting percentage, so that's got to factor into it for me. I give
40%.
Yeah, I know. I'd probably give him a B, honestly. A B minus, something like that.
Skip gave him a C. He said it was average.
Yeah.
It was an average game by number 2. And here's why I think that this is wrong. His shooting percentage was low because the guy gets double teamed. And the fact that Skip Bayless came out and said he didn't know what to do once he got double teamed. It's like the guy has not been double teamed that much in his career, so he has to adapt to this kind of thing. I mean, when has Kawhi Leonard been this kind of scorer like we've seen over this last year? Really, never. Whenever he won a Finals MVP, he only got a Finals MVP because he held LeBron under a triple-double.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that Skip Bayless even acknowledged that he shot 16 for 16 from the free throw line and says that's an all-time great performance, and then comes back and says, but he gets a C. He was lackadaisical on defense. He was bad here. He was bad there. Points out you remember whenever he almost made the steal, whenever they threw the kind of bad pass with 5, there was 8 seconds to go right before Iggy hit the 3. He pointed that out. Forgot to point out the fact that he blocked an easy layup by Boogie Cousins. Comes out, gives him a C, and says it was average at best. 34 points, 14 rebounds. I don't care if you shoot 40% of the field. I will take that from my guy any day of the week. Skip Bayless, you get a C.
Not F?
No. I'll give him a C just because he gives me a shittiest take of the week, and it's pretty much a layup to find on his Twitter account. So, guys, we're going to go ahead and transition gears here. We haven't talked about football in a while. But I'm going to read a couple things from this guy's Wikipedia page. He has not played in the NFL in over a year, and the Raiders just signed him to a 1-year deal. So, on May 23rd, 2018... Incognito was placed on involuntary psychiatric hold for part in an altercation at a Lifetime Fitness Health Club in Boca Raton, Florida. Incognito allegedly threw a tennis ball and dumbbells at other gym patron. He was reported to be altered paranoid state, suspecting that he was being spied on. More on that wasn't covered in the Wikipedia page. He thought that the NSA was on to him and the NFL had him wiretapped.
Yeah, Coltman.
Then he comes out and says that the Vikings wanted him on their team. Mike Zimmer came out and said that he did not want him on his team, so he replied in a tweet and called Mike Zimmer an effing liar. And then the funeral home arrest.
This is the best thing
Fletcher,
ever.
have you heard this about Richie Incognito?
Yeah, this blew my mind.
Yes, so he was on August 20th, 2018. Incognito was arrested and taken into custody after an incident at a funeral home where he threatened to shoot the employees while making funeral arrangements for his father. Police seized 2 Glocks, 3 rifles, and a suppressor for a handgun in Incognito's truck. Employees told Scottsdale police that Incognito wanted his father's head cut off for research purposes, and that he walked through the funeral home punching caskets and throwing objects. He was charged with a disorderly conduct, and making threats. So, why would you have a handgun and a suppressor?
Silent killer, man.
Yes, the silent killer. So
You've got some work you got to do, and you want your business private. I don't see a problem with this.
yes, and the Raiders, guys, that was August 20th, 2018. It is less than a year removed to whenever he was running through a funeral home wanting his father's head cut off.
Cut my dad's head off.
And now the Raiders just signed this man to a 1-year deal. They also signed Vontaze Burfict. In what world do we live in that we say, you know what? That Vontaze Burfict signing does not sound that bad anymore.
2019,
The Raiders.
the fucking Raiders. Like, okay, so here's the deal. Last time we saw Incognito play football, he was really good at it.
Yes.
But he's a fucking psychopath, it sounds like.
He's
Actually,
crazy.
Incognito, if you're listening, you're not a very nice guy.
You're a great guy, man.
Great guy. Come on the show. We'd love to have you on. But if you're the Raiders,
Yeah, not in person
seriously,
though.
what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're going to Las Vegas next year. Just fucking sit down, shut up, grind out 1 year in Oakland with your shit football team. Next year, go to Las Vegas and live the high life and deal with this bullshit then.
Yes.
Don't bring in Vontaze Burfict and Richie Incognito, especially whenever you leave it in a year, just cut it off and leave.
See, the scariest part of this whole thing, and I actually do think that this serves a problem to the players, bringing in a psychopath like him, is that this guy has not. This guy, it's one thing for a guy to be crazy outside of the football field and, him basically not hold his teammates accountable for just like really, really just odd stuff. This guy was he spearheaded a basically hazing group for the Dolphins who drove one guy to the brink of retirement and was recorded calling him racial slurs on his phone. Well, now that guy who was going from making racial slurs on a phone and just kind of being a verbal bully has now shifted gears and taken it one step further to physically threatening to kill people. And now this guy is going to be in a locker room with guys he probably already doesn't like, and he's going to be this same guy that you had at a funeral home threatening to kill people now in your locker room. If the guy was a verbal threat machine back in the day, now he's taking it with his teammates. Now he's taking it one step forward to now he's actually getting physical, and he doesn't like his teammates in the past, and he's been voted the dirtiest player in the NFL before. What is he going to do next? I legitimately think that there is going to be an issue come out of this. I hope there's not, just for the safety of the players. But how would you, in good faith, be able to go to work every single day knowing this guy is in your locker room?
Oh my god, dude. Inside, looking at it from an inside person's perspective, like being in the house on this, dude, you gotta be uneasy. I mean, I would be uneasy just with him being so confrontational and using racial slurs so comfortably like that. But the guy needs help, seriously. I mean, you don't just go walking around, throwing shit at people, wanting your dad's head cut off, walking around with, firearms and suppressors. This is not typical behavior of any healthy functioning adult. And he needs help. He needs another involuntary psychiatric stay. And he definitely does not need to be in a position where his job is to go and hit other human beings as hard as he can.
No. I think this is like an all-time classless move by the Raiders, for one. And it kind of, on top of that, we talked about it before the show, kind of puts them in this weird thing where it's like, oh, are you rebuilding or are you just acquiring talent? It seems like they're trying to win while they rebuild. But I don't even feel comfortable talking about the football aspects of this, talking about, oh, is Richie Incognito going to help this team? It doesn't matter what he does on the field. It absolutely does not. I am legitimately worried for the safety of the Raiders players. And honestly, I had even read a report where they had to heighten security the last year that Incognito was with the Bills.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Leighton.
No, like Becky's gonna say, Incognito. I don't understand. If you could make a player and make the one guy you not want being near your locker room, you got both of them. Vontaze Burfict. You got three of them. Vontaze Burfict, Antonio Brown, and Incognito.
Yeah.
Like, you have the worst locker room morale possibly of all time right now, just brewing.
Yeah, Antonio Brown is the third most craziest guy in your locker room, and that's just crazy to think about.
Oh, man.
Could you
Oakland,
imagine?
baby.
Just imagine Richie Incognito and Vontez Burfict getting in a fight, and then fucking crazy Antonio Brown walks in smiling big time with his blonde mustache. What are you guys fighting about, huh? Like, I imagine that blowing over well.
Yeah, Mr. Big Chest walking into the facility. Like,
Yeah.
dude,
All 5'10" of him.
I don't know why we don't have the Raiders on Hard Knocks, but we need that.
And
They're one of
seriously,
5 teams eligible.
their fucking head coach literally just finished running a TV show. It's like he's like, "No, don't worry about it." And he goes, "I got experience handling this stuff. It's no problem."
Dude, this is basically the real world Oakland.
Oh, my God. Okay, so Amazon does this show. Okay, it's called All or Nothing. Can't remember what it's called exactly. But instead of just preseason, they do the entire season with one team. The first year they did was the Cowboys. Last year, I think it was...
Oh yeah, I
Browns.
watched it.
The Browns, maybe not sure who it was. But it was so cool to do it on the Raiders.
They have to do it on the Raiders, dude. And it's going to be rated R.
It's gonna be rated X.
X, yeah,
I mean, it's going to be bad.
It's gonna be really good.
I'm
It's
throwing...
going to be in the NC-17 section of your local video stores.
I am officially throwing the Raiders helmet into the pile here. Raiders have to be on Hard Knocks. We have to make it happen. Everybody needs to tweet hashtag Raiders for Hard Knocks, because this would be the greatest thing ever filmed in NFL history.
Like 1 million people signed a petition to get Game of Thrones to be made. Sure, the guy can get at least half of that to sign a petition to get Raiders on Hard Knocks.
Oh yeah, all they have to do is listen to this segment and they'll be like, you know what? That's be some pretty crazy television.
This is a good fucking point. I want to watch this shit.
Yeah, Jerry Springer will be beating on the doors of the Oakland Raiders facility, just like trying to get his hat into the circle on this. Oh man, I just unbelievable. So guys, last on the docket here, we got a little MLB chatter. So guys, this last week, Albert Almora of the Cubs hit a young fan with a ball due to the MLB basically refusing to extend the nettings in stadiums. They've talked about it for years now. When will the MLB, and when should the MLB start taking this seriously?
So, I think a handful of years ago, they extended the nettings to the dugout to end, like something like that. And now, I mean, this should be netting all the way down the left field line up until it extends upward to the wall.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, this should be. And I think after this incident, after Chris Bryant basically saying, "Why the fuck don't you have it up there already?" So now, and I feel like going forward, it should continue to happen. I feel like next season we'll see some definite changes with the netting. Finally.
Leighton, buddy, I hope you're right, but if I've learned anything from watching baseball in the MLB this long, is that they are not willing to adapt. This has been an issue for a little while now, and I don't think that just another accident is going to cause really any kind of change to take place. So I hope you're right, but I could still see it being a long time, because I can just hear the gruntled old baseball fan out there. Well, if you weren't on your phone and you were watching the game, none of this would happen to you, because if you can see the 125 mile an hour baseball coming at you, you can do something about it. Like, so I hope you're right, but I don't think you are.
No,
I know I'm wrong.
No, Leighton, you're wrong. I'm going to tell you that. They should have.
No, Leighton, you're wrong, buddy. Sorry.
They should have fixed this issue years ago.
Yesterday.
But the fact that we're still talking about this just drives me crazy, And being a Cubs player like Albert Almora is like the last thing from like a guy who's out there showing just like a ton of emotion on the field. The guy was out there crying in the dugout. Like, no player should have to go through that. No fan should have to be rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Like, this is bad for not only the fans, the fan perspective, you could kill somebody, and then the player's perspective, this shouldn't be something that you have to deal with. Does an NFL player have to deal with a fan standing right next to the sidelines? No. They have them put away far enough to where people don't get injured. Yeah, you have people out there trying to film a game who could possibly get hurt, but like,
you have Drake giving Nick Nurse back massages during the...
Yeah, and it's not like the NBA has, you don't have a fan sitting up there at the top of the rim going to get hit with a ball. Like, I would say, okay, latency, do you think that you were in the top 90 percentile of people in the world with hand-eye coordination?
Fuck. Sure.
I would guarantee you are. I would guarantee you are.
Okay.
You're a young guy. You've played sports before. That at least puts you in the top 80%. And the fact that you're young and still can
Numbers
use your
have been
hands in some
crushed. That at
capacity.
least puts you up there.
Do you think you could stop 100? What's the exit velocity on a really hard hit ball? 120 miles an hour? 108? Something? 108, 110. I think 112 is probably the hardest I've seen. Do you think you could stop a ball if you were paying full attention to the game?
I think I could look away so it hits the side of my head, not my face, but I don't think I can get my hands together fast enough to block my head, no.
No, absolutely not. I know I couldn't. I could maybe get a forearm up there, and the fact that it's a 121 mile an hour ball and it has probably a crazy spin rate, like we see MLB players not even to be able to make those plays. So I don't understand how you expect a fan who is, you have 90-year-old fans at the game, you have children at the game. How can you expect those people to be, if they are paying attention, there's no way in hell they're going to be able to stop it. The only thing they're going to do is see it coming.
Yeah, so to add to that, last year I went to the Red Sox playing the Royals. I sat in the 7th row behind home plate. And they would hit baseballs really hard. I'd be like, oh shit, that ball is gone. And it'd be just like a can of corn to the outfield. Get next to me the whole time saying, no, that's not gone. And those balls coming off that bat so fucking hard and fast. I can only imagine one that was a no doubt home run.
Yes.
Coming at you at 120 miles an hour.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, at least the people that are out in the outfield, they have a ton of reaction time to the ball.
4 seconds to realize, oh shit, the ball's coming at me.
But if you're down the line, you've got 2 seconds tops.
Oh yeah, that ball is out of the infield in seconds.
I mean, guys, we have seen MLB players hurt by line drives. And they are the top 99.9 percentile of people with hand-eye coordination. Mm-hmm. And now we expect fans to be able to stop those. That's absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion.
Well, if everybody wasn't on their damn internet pads and they were watching the game, they'd fucking know.
If they weren't on their iFace and Snapchat.
Really. On their head books.
This is kind of MLB's fault. So I don't take this second to build something else I don't like anymore. All-star voting. How do you vote now? On your phone. MLB used to give you little pit things you would write off in the stadiums to vote for the teams. They don't do that anymore. MLB is on you.
Wow.
Do you remember that at all?
Where you could vote inside the stadium?
Yeah, they used to give you like a little slip of paper, and you would mark shit down and you'd drop it in a box.
Huh.
Yeah, I remember, this was years ago, I was like probably 8 or 9, my dad doing it one year at a game.
Yeah, well, the Cubs probably weren't any good then. We probably didn't have any All-Stars, so.
Everybody gets one.
Everybody, that's true. That's true. Ours was just like a pity. And maybe Sammy Sosa.
The Orioles will have who the fuck the 5-hitter is this year.
Oh, dude, Trey Mancini's a lot.
There you go.
He'll make it. He'll make it.
I actually think at the beginning of the season, Chris Davis is on an all-star trajectory, but could be wrong.
Chris Davis?
Yeah.
Whenever he was 0 for 56?
Since that point, I think he's been really hot, actually.
So, guys, last bit. Dallas Keuchel, Craig Kimbrell, 2 of the MLB's biggest free agents still remain unsigned. But there's finally been some buzz. We've seen that there's been a couple teams come up, maybe take them. Why has it been so long? I mean, we're 60 games into the season. Why has it been so long for people to sign these players?
Well, Craig Kimbrell is because he still didn't come off his 4-year demand. And teams just don't want to pay a closer who has his velocity declining every year, $50 million over 4 years. That's not going to happen anymore, especially whenever you're losing his best pitcher to the fastball. Keuchel came out that he will take a 1-year deal, so he'll be signed probably within the next 2 or 3 weeks. $18 million, though. Still, it's a lot of money, but for a 1-year deal, a team's going to pay him.
Yeah, I saw that the Twins and the Yankees might get him. You know what I hate about baseball? And this drives me nuts. Okay, so these guys are 30, 31 years old. Mm-hmm. Okay, whenever you get brought into the MLB, let's say you're a player that goes 4 years in college, okay? Then you get drafted in the MLB. How long does that team have you under control for $500,000?
5 years or some shit. It's a long time.
It's 6 years after you make the 40-man roster.
Okay, 6 years after that?
Yeah.
Let's say it takes you 2 years to make a 40-man roster.
Okay, so the 23 or 25 at that point.
Okay.
That's how you... No.
And then how long do they have you under contract for?
6 years.
So then you are 31 years old. You are Craig Kimbrell, or you are Dallas Keuchel's age, and now you're coming up for a big contract and nobody wants to pay you.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
That is a huge problem.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt, let's say I know Keuchel's made some money. I know I know Keuchel's made his money, and I know Kimbrel's made some money. But let's say these guys were in the Tyler Glasnows of the world that's pitching at an elite level, making $500,000 and still has like years on his deal that they have him under control. You could realistically make it to 30 in today's MLB. You could make it to 31 and never see a big payday.
Yeah. Okay, what's happening to put out? Also, guys, that was wrong. It's 6 years after the year you were drafted. They gotta pay you actual money, or the money goes against the luxury tax and 4-man roster. That's whenever they're like, okay, this will be a real player here.
Okay,
That
even
baseball
then,
cap
if
is
you're 28
complicated.
years old, they're going to sign you for a 2-year deal, and then they're going to be done with you. So you get 2 years being able to make your own money.
Yeah, this is what this is about with UMB like last week.
This is crazy.
It needs to be 4 years. If you don't know you have a major baseball player in the first 2.5 years, you don't have one.
Yes,
You can trade him or get off him some way.
unless it's Byron Buxton.
Brian Buxton gets to Major League. Hey, he got to Major League real quick. So they do have a guy on them. But no, it needs to be 4 years.
Gut check who signs him and when.
Okay, so you said the Twins, the Yankees for Dallas Keuchel. George Steinbrenner was rolling over in his grave whenever they didn't sign Machado or Harper. They will not let the Twins outbid them for Dallas Keuchel. That will not happen. Just a 1-year deal. And Craig Kimbrel, he might not fucking pitch this year. I kind of think he won't, but if let's say you want to take a 1-year deal, you got to think it'd be the Red Sox to sign him. Red Sox bullpen is abysmal. Like a little league team out there, they just give away games. Look at the Red Sox offense, identical last season. We just can't stop it from scoring. So, Kimbrel, Red Sox 1-year deal. Keuchel, Yankees 1-year deal.
This is actually going to kind of be a forethought to my bold prediction. I think both these guys are going to go to the Twins.
Huh.
I think both these guys go to the Twins. The Twins are one of the... They're the best team in baseball, probably right now. Right now, they're the first team to 40 wins. They have 11.5 game lead. Why not? Why not sign these guys, take a chance on it, and then, okay, what if you... All right, Dallas Keuchel. You get a 4th starter at worst. I mean, seriously, if Dallas Keuchel comes in and pitches the worst baseball of his career, he's the 4th starter on the Twins. You need a 4th starter going, later on in the season. Mm-hmm. Craig Kimbrel. Worst case scenario, he can be your 8th inning guy. He can just be another guy in your bullpen that you have whenever you need him. And we've seen flashes. I mean, hell, he pitched last year and the Red Sox won the World Series. Mm-hmm. So I think it would be genius for the Twins to go out and sign him. Baseball's not one of those weird sports where all these guys have to be cohesive like basketball or football where these splash signings can cause problems. Both of these guys have won a title in the last 2 years. Bring them in. They at least have championship pedigree. And at worst, they're going to be guys who can help your team who has not been deep into the postseason in a very long time get through that hump and have success.
The Twins got to be great for the Twins.
Yes.
But I just don't see the Yankees losing Dallas Keuchel to the Twins.
I hope they do. Fletch, you got any bold predictions on that for us?
I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm Mr. Baseball Guru, but I'm telling you, they're going to have to sign 1-year deals to get brought on because nobody wants to buy into those guys long term. 1-year deal doesn't matter if you pay a guy $20 million for 1 year; it's a rental situation, and it leaves you with flexibility. So.
Oh, and Dallas Keuchel has been throwing starts, quote-unquote starts, at Scott Boras' training center up to 105 pitches. So
I love that.
So he acted like he's on a roster, going through workouts and everything, going through bullpen days, then throwing at many pitches.
Everybody's playing checkers. Scott Boras playing chess, dude. I love it. He has his own training facility. So, guys, it is time for our producer to be in the spotlight. Each week he goes out and watches a number of movies. Latency, what do you got for us today?
All right, Dippers. Thanks for listening. This has been a very long podcast already. I saw 5 movies last week.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm going to just give you...
I haven't watched 5 movies in the last, year.
Did you watch The Carter Effect?
I did not know. But I didn't have time to watch that yesterday. I'm sorry, your text with 1 hour to prepare for that did not give you enough time to watch it. But, so I'll give you 5 movies, 5 scores. Very quick all about all of them. The first one is called Ma. It's a Blumhouse production. Octavia Spencer stars as this old lady who befriends high school kids and they party in a basement. It's knocking futz. 1.7 dips. Not that good.
Not that good?
No.
That looked crazy good.
It is crazy. Not that crazy good though.
Crazy
Who made
bad.
it?
Huh?
Who made that?
Bloomhouse was the production studio. So like, Jeff Bloom was the producer. They're all
Okay.
kind of the same. Same movie as Aladdin. Everyone knows what Aladdin's about. A thief finds a lamp, becomes the fake prince, falls in love with the princess, princess falls in love back. He gets sold out for not being a real prince. Not done that great. 1.6 dips. Booksmart. This is super bad, but with chicks. It's legitimately funny. Pretty good LOL moments in it. This one teetered on the 2 line, but I get 1.9. Brightburn. This is James Gunn's new movie. He made Guardians of the Galaxy. This is what would happen if Superman was a bad guy and never grew up past age 12 that we know of. The movie was actually really interesting, and at the end, they kind of allude to making more movies like this with like an evil Wonder Woman, evil Aquaman, evil Flash, all those guys.
As toddlers? You remember that Hulk as toddler? I was forward thinking whenever I said we had Hulk as a toddler.
Yep.
Like a year ago.
Yeah, sure. Okay, but that's never gonna happen. God damn it, Drake. Never gonna happen.
I'm a genius.
I don't think we're gonna make enough money to make those movies happen, but that'd be a really cool universe to explore this kind of whole universe movie world we're in now. 1.8 dips. And Godzilla King of the Monsters.
This has got to be a 3-dipper.
If you would have asked me, this was definitely top 5, maybe the third most thing I'm excited for this year on TV or movies, behind Game of Thrones and The Avengers. The monster shit in this movie is so freaking cool. It is so awesome. But everything else in it is just so terribly bad and stupid and terrible. 2 hours and 12 minutes long. This movie should have been an hour and 45 minutes long max. Cut out the plot bullshit that is just jumbled and terrible writing. More monster action.
It's my kind of movie.
1.4 dips.
Wow.
And 1.3 of those dips is for the monster stuff. And 0.1 dip is because, can't remember her full name, Nelly something, 11 from Stranger Things in it. She's a really good actress. So, there's 5 movies for you. Brightburn 1.8, Godzilla 1.4, Booksmart 1.9, Aladdin 1.6, Ma 1.7.
A lot of quantity, no quality, huh?
Exactly. And
That's bad.
after tomorrow, I will have once again seen every movie in theaters.
That's absolutely hilarious. So, guys, any bold predictions for this week before we sign off?
Catch at the top of the show, but this is going to kind of be like a longer 1 week thing. I think that lawsuit between Kawhi and Nike will go almost to the Supreme Court. I do just think this could be a groundbreaking thing for copyright and athletes wanting what is theirs. This is a great chance for Kawhi to actually get himself out there a little bit.
Fletch, any bold predictions?
Yeah, I got 2. One, the more immediate one, I think the Blues are going to win the Stanley Cup playoffs. Game 7 would be next Wednesday, so they're not like the NBA. They wrap that shit up. They play the games and they get over with it. But a little more long-term one I have is I think the second that NBA teams are able to make trades, I do believe that Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram are on the outs.
To where?
I don't know.
Well, I got half of a prediction for us.
They're going to be out, though. They're going to be out the door.
Bold. Make it bold. Make it bold. Where do they go?
Where do they go? Toronto?
No, Washington. Look for Brad Beal.
Ooh.
Okay. Makes sense. A lot better than my Kyle Lowry trade I thought in my head for a second.
No.
My bold prediction is that Dallas Keuchel and Craig Kimball are going to be twins. I'll give it 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
I want both of them there. And on that note, for Drake, for Leighton C., and Fletch, Dippers, as always, stay saucy.